Hello and welcome back to the Ohana Special Features Podcast. My name is Gary. I am the executive pastor at Ohana Church, and I am joined, as always, by the senior pastor of Ohana Church, the Florida man himself, Efren Rosario. Efren, how you doing?
I am doing great. And being a Florida man, it's a good thing I'm still alive.
There you go. Yes, you've survived so far. You're through the trenches of what people have said. This might offend you, but I've heard it said that Florida is America's basement.
Yes.
It's dark. Everything's wet.
Yes. We also call it in Florida America's armpit.
Okay.
It's the other one that we call it down there because it is just so muggy and swampy and gross.
Hey, that's where Mickey lives, so it's special. Yes. Yeah, special. Yeah. Well, today we are here recording at Dirt Dog Studios, also known as my office, also known as where I hide from my family sometimes. And
which is needed at times.
Yes. I'm in a good mood today.
Good.
Last night, the Yankees were eliminated from the playoffs by the Toronto Blue Jays. They are going home. Another year without a Yankees championship. 2009 was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
And people will say, oh, the Red Sox got eliminated. But you know, I'm looking at 4 banners up there behind your head, Efren. And 2018 wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. And you know me, I have my disdain for the Yankees as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's some Yankees fan in our congregation.
Names. I'm what names?
You're wrong.
Who are they?
So, you don't need names.
Okay.
This is going to get nasty. Like I can't do that.
Oh, well. I'll call them out on Sunday morning.
Well, that's also true. But
repent.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to remember now. There was one I saw a hat this past Sunday. Was this past Sunday? Yeah, this past Sunday, and I was just like, "Why is that doing here?"
Probably there to troll me, but I wasn't there.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. Joke's on them.
Yeah, joke is on them. But I will say, I am surprised that because I knew Toronto was a good team.
Yeah.
But it just always seems like when the Yankees get to the playoffs, they just find a way to win. So and I'm just like, I'm glad it happened.
This is and we'll move on from the baseball talk.
Yes.
But sorry, it's October. This is the first time since 2016 that the Yankees or the Astros are not in the ALCS.
That is a great fact.
Blew my mind this morning.
That is beautiful. Now we can just add the Dodgers to that. But baby steps.
So. Yes. Before we get on, I have some good news for you that I wanted to share on our show here. The other day, I had a moment of weakness and I cheated on my diet and went to Taco Bell. It was calling my name,
Yep.
And I noticed something that you might be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
For a limited time only, they have returned the Cool Ranch Doritos taco.
Ah, yes.
So
good.
I know that is if you know about our Dorito history, I'm team nacho cheese, Efren's team Cool Ranch.
That's right.
So I thought I'd be a good friend and tell you, hey, it's back. So
well, I appreciate it.
Get it while you can.
Yes, I need to.
Yeah.
And it just should never go away, but whatever, But hey, yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna have to go get me some.
Yeah, enjoy that. So, all right, we're in Exodus, and this past Sunday, Efren, you preached out of Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 through 33, and the sermon title was called "You Can't Serve God and ... Yep. Yes. So we're gonna dive in. Efren, what was your goal from this week's sermon?
I really think my goal was to have everyone really like self-reflect and see, am I trying to serve God? And it's kind of that, because I know not a lot of time, but I guess it's easy for pastors to really talk about idol worship, right? Like, don't put God before something. Don't put this above God. It's God first kind of thing, right? And I feel like I kind of hit on that the week before when I was talking about how to use our time and how our time reflects what our priorities are and all that. So for this one, it was more for not so much the people that have an idolatry problem, there's something before God. It is now for everybody else that I think probably the majority of people struggle with. It's, I am trying to serve God and something else. Like, I'm trying to do both at the same time, where it's like you want to be fully devoted to God, but I also want to be fully devoted to XYZ. So, like, for instance, all the years of youth ministry, right? You and I have dealt with this many times, where we've seen families that always say how much they love God, how much they love church, and they want to be involved. They want their kids to be involved. And you know exactly where I'm going with this. But then whether it's baseball, basketball, softball, lacrosse, whatever, that is also the other God that they're serving. So you can tell, and it's always this hard thing.
Band. So it's not just the
band.
athletes.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's also band,
You name it.
theater, whatever. Like whatever. There's always camps. There's always something, right? Whatever the kids' extracurricular activity was, and it's crazy because when these people were in town, they were very involved. They had a servant's heart. I mean, I saw some of that. Some people didn't care, but I'm talking about these people specifically that are like trying to do both. But then they find themselves not really doing both. They find themselves serving whatever their kid's activity is. And that's what they end up serving more than God. Like if you would lay it out on paper, you'd realize, oh, well, I actually am spending more time and effort and resources towards my kids. But they thought they were doing God, like it. So it's more for that. And it can also, it can just be so many things. It can be work. It can be chasing money. It can be whatever status. Like you can go down the list of like different things that it could be. Whatever your hobby is personally, like there's all that kind of stuff. And so it was just more that eye-opening moment of, oh, like God, even back then, right? Like people preach about that out of what Jesus says. But it's like, okay, even back then, God's like trying to set the standard of, no, you're completely devoted to me. And then after you're devoted to me, everything else will fall in place. So it's more that mentality of not so much put things in priority order, God first, family. Like that's what we like to do. We like to make a list. God's like, there is no list.
Yeah.
It's me. You serve me and me alone. And then because you're serving me and you're completely devoted to me, then everything else, your family, your job, everything else will fall into place where it's supposed to be. And so that was my goal, is that hopefully people will see that you can't do both, and then being able to see, because I know I hit on a lot about sin, and it's like whatever it is, this is sin. Whether you have an idolatry problem or you're actually struggling with sin, because at the end of the day, we like our sins, and we got to not like our sins. But we can't keep our sins and still be devoted to God. We can't be devoted to God and chase our passions and stuff that are against God or that we're putting above God. It just all that. So I was kind of hoping people would just, without spelling it out, hopefully people would look at that and say, "Oh man, I am trying to serve God and whatever their end is."
I like how that the title, we left that part blank, because that "and" is different, can be different for all of us. And the "and" isn't always bad things. It's just how we use it.
Right.
It's not bad. All of our kids play sports. They have extracurricular activities. Messed up on that word. But it's where you put that. Right. And if you find yourself putting God behind that, or God takes a back seat, serving, whatever it may be, the things of God taking a back seat to those, that's when it becomes a problem. That's when it becomes sin. So yeah, I like how you left that blank, and just because, like I said, it could be different for anybody.
Yeah, because I mean, Jesus laid it out, right? You can't serve God and money. He straight up says that to the people following and things like that. Like you can't do both, but that "and" can be different for all of us. Because some people, man, money's not a big deal, but maybe what that money can buy, maybe that's why they don't think it's money, but they're trying to get something else. So yeah, so definitely,
money,
it can
status,
be anything.
Reputation,
having tons of friends or whatever,
which is overrated.
I agree. In my old age, I've realized 2 or 3 really close friends is good, and then because to me, I'm like, you have your best friend, you have your close friends, you have your friends, and then you got acquaintances.
Yep.
And everyone has a spot, but yeah.
So,
and if you don't know what spot you're in, don't worry about it.
it's best not to ask.
Yeah.
So you had talked about later on in the sermon cutting off, and you used the example Jesus said, if your hand calls you to sin, cut it off. Your eye calls you sin, cut it out. And I'm glad you said that is Jesus being figurative, because if that was literal, we'd all have no eyes, no hands.
Yeah, that's very true.
At least I know I would. So, and you gave some examples of what that looks like in our lives, of the cutting out. And I just wanted to see, speak a little bit more on that. Like what are some more examples? What are some ways that we need to cut things out, I guess?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it starts with it's almost like any recovery program. You got the first step to recovery is to admit you have a problem. And And I think that's honestly the hardest part for a lot of people is that they don't want to admit that something is a problem. Um, if you have a drinking problem, if you have a drug problem, if you have a watching too much TV problem, there's always excuses on why it's not a problem. It can be anything, too much gaming, I don't know, whatever. Like whatever it is. Like so first of all, it's like it's being able to step back and say, okay, let me actually look at how I spend my time, how I spend my money, my resources, and see where it's all funneling. And if I'm seeing that all this is funneling in one direction, and then I look back and I realize, oh well, I'm not serving at church or attending or giving, or family is being deprived of things. Like there's different things you can look at and be like, oh yeah, I can see where I'm not doing things right. Or maybe I'm not helping people enough because I keep saying, oh, I don't have the time or I don't have the money. Well, you have the time, you have the money, just where you putting it, right? And if these things are taking precedence over the things that God said we should do, then you realize, okay, maybe I have a problem in this area. I need to make adjustments. So that's the first step is see and admit that you have that problem. And then once you do that, uh, then take the necessary steps. Like for me, this isn't something like we had to take a steps, but it's a boundary I had to set ahead of time. Like we talked about our kids. Selah plays basketball. We all know how much I love basketball. Basketball is my sport. I love that. She's playing it. So it's very easy. It would be very easy for me to get sucked into that and just sucked into that whole world and put her in everything. And right now we have her a part of an AAU program that thankfully is way cheaper than any other AAU program I've seen. So I'm very happy for that. But there has been a push, at least as Selah has gotten older, to be like, hey, you need to get her on the tournament teams, so that way she can start being seen and this. But those tournament teams are gone almost every weekend, and we said from the beginning we're not doing that. Maybe we'll sign up for a big week-long tournament once or twice a year. I'll use one of my Sundays off, sure, but this consistent going to be gone on Sunday mornings. We're not setting that precedent in my house that that we're not attending church because you're playing games. Like that's just not going to happen. Now so that's why she's done a lot more all day Saturday tournaments, because Saturday, so we can use that as we will, right? Like God doesn't really care with that. I know we talked about Sabbath and stuff, but pick a day for Sabbath, but whatever. So we're not really worried about that, and it's not even all the time. And if we have other things we need to do, we make adjustments or whatever. So that's something that I know I had to do ahead of time because I knew I could get sucked into it, and so I couldn't do that. But even if it's like if we're looking at other examples, so I'll say this: I always bring up the phone and social media thing because I look around at our culture and see how there's so many people struggling with depression, anxiety, stress. People don't know how to have conversations face to face. They don't know how to handle conflict. And there's so many scientific studies that have come out now that says it's because our heads are in that phone. And right now, everyone has a phone. Almost every age has a phone. Kids aren't functioning. Kids, like I talk about how we're probably going to have a shortage of doctors and lawyers one day because no one has the attention span or the resolve to finish a doctorate or something. Or it's going to be people from overseas who didn't have all this stuff who know how to do it. It won't be a lot of Americans. They're different conversation. I'm just trying to make the point that the way we use our phones has been a huge sticking point for a lot of people. It has led to a lot of sin. It has led to a lot of anxiety and stress, which God says, don't be anxious, don't worry. So we're going against God in that. We're using our time scrolling, and then we're saying we don't have time to read, like read the Bible. We don't have time to pray, but we'll scroll on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever the heck is out there. We'll do that for hours. We're okay with binging Netflix for hours. We're talking about kids as young as 10 years old now, or 10 years. Wait, how old are you when you're in second grade? That's younger than that.
I did second grade twice, so specific.
The first go around, I guess.
Yeah, we'll say I don't know, 8,
age.
7, 8.
Okay, sure. They're already saying that by second grade. Then let's just say that 7, 8, that kid's already exposed to pornography. But a lot of that is because they have access to the internet through their phones or through their Xbox or whatever. They have too much access, and that's really the issue: is that access, and it sucks you in, and everything is designed to suck you in. to pull you away from whatever else, because the longer you're staring at that screen, tablet, phone, whatever, the more money they make, right? So that's why I always come back to that, and I say, maybe even as a society, but for one-on-one, it might be okay to get a dumb phone. Get a phone that all you can do, like phone that we got our kids, because now they're of the age where they're running around with friends or here, there, whatever, to be like, hey, all you can do on this thing is call and text and listen to music. Maybe they make phones like that where you can lock it down, and so maybe that's the step that needs to be taken. Yeah, I understand. Oh, I need two-factor authentication. I can't speak. Okay, that's fine. You can still get text messages for that, right? Like you can have certain things, but maybe what you need to cut off is the access to the internet. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Or maybe you do. It's just like, no, I can still get in the internet. I can't cut off the access through the phone. Then just get a dumb phone, get a flip phone, get something like that with a lot of those kinds of things. If it is, oh yeah, I spend 6 hours a day binging on Netflix. You need to cancel Netflix. It's just stuff like that to be like, okay, no, I got to cut this back. I've got to be done. Or if it's like, if you do it on your phone or something, because I don't think TVs can do it. But like one thing we do with Sayla with her Switch, and a lot of programs, a lot of phones and stuff have this to where you set like a timer.
That's what we do with ours.
There you go. Yeah. So like once the timer goes off, it just shuts it off,
Yeah.
and you're done. There's nothing else you can do. Yeah. That could be another way to, if you do want to get to the point where you just say, I want to cut it complete off, that's a good step down, right? Put a timer on it.
Yeah.
Get used to that, and then you'll realize I don't need it, and then maybe you'll just cancel it, and then it's not a temptation anymore, right? Yeah. So there's different ways to do certain things. So there's a lot of that. I mean, if it's, I'm trying to think of just other examples.
I mean, but you said it, like that's our culture. Now, like social media, it went from being a useful tool, which it is. It is a useful tool for many reasons. You and I have a TikTok that we use together to communicate and do fun stuff with the church.
Right.
That's the way you use it as a tool. It's when it goes from a tool to a constant obsession, constantly sucked into it, constantly scrolling.
When you see it as a need.
Yes, that's good. When you see it as a need, a necessity, that's when it becomes a problem. I've had to take several steps back. I haven't unplugged like you have. I commend you for that. But I still, am on it, but I've had to take a step back of like how I use it. If I find myself scrolling too much, it's okay. I'm taking this off my phone and it'll just be on my laptop, and I'll check it when I use my laptop, stuff like that. Or, just being more intentional about how I use it and stuff like that. But I'll tell anybody, like, there are things I've had to cut out of my life and completely, for example, alcohol is not an option for me. And we can get into, theology and right or wrong, drink or not, but like I made a decision 2 years ago that I can't touch this stuff. And it's not that I can't go somewhere that doesn't have it. It's not an option for me. And at first I was like, well, this is going to make me not have fun, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, using that example, I have not missed it. And it has given me so many more opportunities to share with other people who had same struggles as me. Right. God opens doors, God provides. And I'll just say, like, anything I've had to cut out of my life, the movies I watch, stuff, those are the two big ones, type of movies I watch, alcohol, stuff like that. Like, it seemed like at first it was like, okay, this is limiting me, but it's been so much. I haven't missed it, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And it's given me clarity, So I'll say whatever it is you have to cut out, if that comes to be, I just want you to know it's worth it. Yeah. It is absolutely worth it for your relationship with God, more importantly, but also your relationship with others.
Yeah. I know, because like I think of how, because the big problem is whatever it is, whatever your and is, you always do feel like it's a need, right? Like I need to do these things. I need to watch these things, blah, blah. Like for me, it's like, because you brought up movies. You and I are huge movie guys. Absolutely love movies. If someone told me this is a great movie, blah, blah, and I'm going in, I love the character, love the plot, I watched it. I didn't pay attention to content. But then one day I had to come to the realization, it's like, okay, I do have anger issues. I do have language issues. Now, some of that goes back to music choices and stuff. And so I'm tying music into this because of the way music has an effect on our soul because the way God created music. Again, another day, maybe that should be another podcast. Anyways, and so like hack on what kind of music I listen to because of what it was doing to me and the path it was leading me down. But the same with movies. It's like if I'm seeing all this language that's helping me be, not be careful with my words and how I use them and how I use them in anger and things like that. And then I'm also, back in the day I had a pornography addiction. So there's no reason, like, I don't care what anyone says. Just because it's in a movie doesn't mean it's art and it's excusable. It's still pornography. Yep. So this is why, for the most part, I don't watch rated R movies. If there is a rated R movie where I'm like, oh, well, this looks like it could be a good story, then that's where I'm like, okay, well, let me check out what the content is first, and then I'll see if it's worth watching. Being
proactive.
Yeah, being proactive about it. And then, unfortunately, 98% of the time, it's a no.
Yeah.
Because things are just way too foul, way too gratuitous, or too much pornography in those movies. So for the majority of rated R movies, I'm not watching. Yeah. Even though it may look good. Yeah. Like one that you and I really, really wanted to watch was Oppenheimer. We love Christopher Nolan, World War II movie, Oppenheimer, Atomic Bomb. We were both interested, but we didn't, as we say, didn't pass the content curve. But these are boundaries we had to set up. See, that we didn't have to say we were no longer allowed to watch movies ever. That's not what we said. But here are boundaries, right?
I like that.
Yeah. Here are the boundaries we have to do. We have to set up if we're going to make sure that we can still enjoy this, but make sure we're not corrupting ourselves, corrupting our testimony. Because I mean, if people find out, oh, well, he's a pastor and he's watching these kinds of movies, then I can watch it, and then boom, someone who has a porn addiction is trying to fight it is now watching it because, oh, my pastor's watched it, said it was okay. I'll always be upset when I heard one time, listen to a sermon, and the pastor goes off on how much he loves Game of Thrones, and he uses Game of Thrones as an analogy in his sermon, and I'm like, that show is filled with constant gratuitous porn, and so I'm like, are you kidding me? And now he just gave his whole congregation license for this, and who knows who's struggling with that and wants to escape it. There's no way now because it's
Pastor so and so said it.
Yeah. And that's another thing, not just a pastor thing, but as all believers, we have a testimony, and our testimony impacts other people negatively or positively. So we got to be super careful about that as well. So these are all things and this is how you don't serve God. And this is, I'm going to serve God. Even though we may feel this isn't a big deal as humans, it's a big deal to God and the standards that he has set for us, the high standards he has set for us to build his kingdom and to be examples of what it means to be his child.
Yeah, well said. I mean, you helped me out with that with our friendship, years ago when you told me why you don't watch certain things, and I started putting kind of the same. We call it the content curve, and we could go on for hours. But literally, if there's a movie I want to see, I Plugged In's a great resource. There's Common Sense Media. They break it down. Here's what this has, and if it hits those certain things, okay, non-option. Yeah. And it's worth it. It really is. And so yeah. So I'm pretty sure we've already touched on it, but real quick, a takeaway you'd like the congregation to have from this past week's sermon.
I think the takeaway, I guess through our conversation, we might have touched through it. I think the main takeaway is really getting confronted with the hard truth of, which I guess this wraps it all up, I guess, of the hard truth of what I said at the end of the sermon, which I will admit I stole from Francis Chan because he said it and it's got stuck in my head, because he said it like how long ago it was, but it got stuck in my head, was you're as close to God as you want to be. And I just think, and that's, I've always known that and thought of that. I just never put it in those kinds of words. And I think that's the thing. It's like, if you're struggling with your relationship, if you're struggling with serving God, and this is your choice, if you recognize you're having these issues, and it's time to make a choice to say, I want to be closer to God, and then wanting to take the steps to get closer to him, and not make excuses, and not say, oh, but, like, kill the sin. Whatever's getting in the way, kill it. Just be done with it. Don't sit here and, oh, but if I get a dumb phone, I can't do this. Or if I cut out social media, I can't do this. Well, I need it for this, or I need to drink, or I need to watch these movies, or else how am I going to talk to her? I need to watch these shows. You don't need to do anything except serve God.
Yeah.
That is our only need. And I think that's the thing. It's like if we have to be confronted with that truth, that we can't sit here and say, I feel distant from God. Why am I struggling with all these sins? Because at the end of the day, we're making the decisions that are putting us exactly where we want to be. Yeah. And yes, there are sins that happen to us, like other people's sins, and we reap the consequences of it, and that's just part of being a sinful world. But the majority of the time, our relationship with God is exactly where we want it to be, subconsciously at the very least.
Yeah.
If you want to be closer to God, you can.
Yeah, he's
not going anywhere.
No.
You know, just like in my analogy, God never moved.
Yeah. Which I like that as a visual learner, which I'll talk about next week's sermon, by the way. I really appreciated how you had Mark and Isaac up there. That was a great way to lay it all out. And I will say, as we close, talking about killing the sin, cutting it out, something I just thought of. When you do that, replace it with the things of God. That's where the heart change comes in. Yeah. And you don't replace it. You don't go to God with it. That's when you're just white knuckling everything. You know. But go to God with the stuff and kill it there. Also, side note, you had mentioned in our conversations, you were like, "Hey, I think I screamed. I just yelled at the congregation."
Oh yeah, I was quite worried about it.
I listened to it yesterday. I didn't think you yelled.
Okay,
it didn't come across as yelling to me. Now, what I did take offense to is when you were like, "Call someone." You know, that's where I draw the line. As a natural introvert, calling someone, that is my biggest fear in life. But sometimes it's necessary.
Hey, but I did say, wait, hold on. I just freaked out that introvert.
You did. I was pulling into the Costco parking lot yesterday, listening to it, and I busted out laughing. I was like, yeah, he's talking to me there. But sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
But
it was one of those things that it made me laugh because as I was thinking about that, and I was like, it's not that hard, because that's my reaction. It's like, you want to talk to someone, just call them.
Yeah.
And then I realized, I was like, wait, introverts just freaked out.
Yeah.
Text them.
I've learned if I want to freak Efren out, I need to call him.
That is true.
He knows I do not call unless I absolutely
have to. You always text me. If I see you calling, I'm like, this is serious. I need to pick it up.
Yeah.
Or at least need to text back. I'll call you back. If I know it's serious.
I'll leave a message. If it's not for something really important, I'll leave a message. Hey, just to let you know, it's not important. I'm just driving or something.
Yeah.
But
which I have quite a few people that's how I do. Like we'd say, we had Isaac up there. I know he won't mind that I said this, but Isaac's another one.
Yeah.
I know good and well. Like Isaac always texts me. But if he calls me, something's going down. So I better pick it up, you know.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that'll wrap up another episode of the Ohana Special Features podcast. We hope you found this informative and, took a little deeper into the sermon. If you haven't watched this past week's sermon, hey, go do it. It's on our YouTube channel. And also, I just want everybody to know, if you have something you'd like us to talk about on the podcast, a question, a topic, shoot us an email and we'll cover.
And you can call me, just don't call Gary.
Yeah. You can text or email me, but call Efren. If he doesn't answer, just wait a little bit and call him back. Don't call me. Anyway. All right, I think that's it.
All right. Wait. Do we have a church sign?
We do, actually. Thanks for
that is the last thing we got to talk about.
I've had to Google these because I haven't seen any out in real life.
Okay.
They've all been like boring and announcements and stuff. But this comes from First United Methodist Church, the first one.
The very first
historic place.
Yes.
I don't know where it is, but it's just First United Methodist Church. It says, "Too hot to keep changing sign. Sin bad, Jesus good. Details inside." Now, that's how you use a church sign.
That is how you use a church sign.
No one's reading about. No one's catching your times and stuff like that. Just stuff like this, people will read.
Yeah.
So,
I think the hardest part about the church sign thing for you, Gary, is because when I drive around through town, I see all the different church signs and I laugh, but I don't want to bring them to the podcast because I don't want to call them out for having either ridiculous signs or maybe I call them out for having a great sign, but then I set the standard too high. And then now they have to like always uphold, they already said it on this podcast.
That's true. Well, I'll say this. I hear you not want to call anybody out, but if someone takes the time to do it and it's just ridiculous or accidentally hilarious, I think they deserve to be called out.
Okay, fair enough. I'll be ready next time.
You've set yourself. You put it out there, you're going to call you out.
Fair enough. I guess it should be the same thing. Like if you put it on social media,
there you go.
It's out in the public, so it's up for grabs.
What it is. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. That's what we'll do.
So,
okay.
All right. Well, have a great week, everybody, and thanks for listening.
All right, see you.